The legend of William Wallace. In the shadowed hills of Scotland, where mist clung like silver veils to the lochs and the heather bloomed in waves of purple and crimson, a boy was born to a minor, noble family in the village of Elderslie. He was named William Wallace, though no trumpets heralded his birth. From the earliest days, it was clear he was unlike other children. Tall before his years, broad-shouldered with hair like burnished copper and eyes the piercing blue of the northern sky, he seemed to embody the wild spirit of the land itself. He learned the arts of the sword and bow, not in the great halls of kings, but in forests where the wind sang through the trees, and along the riverbanks where he hunted stags and fished the swift waters. Every hill, every glen, every hidden glade was a teacher, and by the time he reached manhood, he moved with the grace of a predator and the strength of a storm. Then came the shadow of England. In 1296, Edward Longshanks marched into Scotland, toppling castles, dethroning King John Balliol and installing his men in every town and keep. The banners of conquest flew where Scotland's lions had roared. The people groaned under taxes, curfews, and English law, but Wallace's heart burned with a fire that could not be quenched. It is told that the spark of rebellion was lit by a personal tragedy. Some say the English sheriff of Lanark slew Wallace's beloved, cruelly and without cause. Others whisper it was the sight of Scotland's people crushed beneath foreign boots that ignited his fury. Whatever the cause, he rose, fierce and unyielding. "Do you tremble for your homes?" Wallace called to the men gathering in the forests, their hands clutching spears, axes, and crude swords. "Do you fear the oppressor? Look to the hills, the rivers, the wind itself. Scotland breathes in you. We shall not bow." By night, Wallace moved like a shadow. English garrisons were set aflame, patrols ambushed in narrow glens, officers struck down in silence. Soon, tales of his deeds spread like wildfire. Whispers ran through the taverns and market squares. "There is a man who will not bow. There is a man who fights for us." Word reached him that the English had gathered a great army to crush the rebellion at Stirling Bridge. The River Forth ran dark and swift beneath the narrow wooden crossing, its waters roiling like a beast ready to swallow the unwary. Wallace studied the enemy ranks, noting their confidence and weight of armor. He turned to his men. "See the bridge, narrow and treacherous. They come with banners and arrogance, but we have cunning, we have courage, and we have Scotland itself on our side. Stand firm, strike when the moment is right. The river will judge them." When the English host began to cross, Wallace gave the signal. The Scots surged forward, spears thrust, swords clashed, and the wooden planks groaned beneath the combined weight of men and horses. Horses plunged into the dark waters, men struggled in vain to escape, and the English army was thrown into chaos. Victory was complete. Scotland erupted in cheers, and William Wallace was hailed as guardian of the realm. Yet even heroes face betrayal. At Falkirk the following year, Edward himself led a vast host against Wallace. The Scottish nobles, wary of his rise and jealous of his fame, faltered. Arrows darkened the sky, and English cavalry thundered across the field. Wallace's men formed shields and spears into impenetrable walls, but slowly the tide turned. "Hold the line!" Wallace roared, his voice carrying across the chaos. "We fight for Scotland, for our homes, for our children. Stand, men of the glen!" But treachery and fear tore the ranks. The Scottish forces broke, and Wallace, surrounded yet unbowed, slipped into the forests once more. There he lived as a phantom warrior, striking with precision, disappearing like mist among the hills, his legend growing with every daring raid. For years he wandered, a shadow of vengeance. Mothers hushed their children with warnings of the English, fathers raised their cups to Wallace the Free, and every village whispered tales of his courage. Yet even legends meet the cruel hand of fate. In 1305, betrayed by one he trusted, Wallace was seized near Glasgow and delivered to London. In chains, he stood before Edward's court. "I could not be traitor to Edward," he declared, eyes blazing. "I was never his subject. My loyalty is to Scotland alone." The tyrant's sentence was merciless. Wallace was hanged, drawn and quartered, his limbs sent to distant towns as a warning to those who might rise. But if Edward thought to break the spirit of Scotland, he was mistaken. From that moment, Wallace became immortal. His spirit marched with Robert the Bruce at Bannockburn, fought alongside every Scot who drew sword for freedom, and even now, it is said, his voice rides the northern wind. Freedom is the breath of Scotland. While one heart beats here, Scotland shall never bow. Thus William Wallace, simple-born yet larger than life, became more than a man. He was the soul of a people, the fire of rebellion, and the shadow of defiance against tyranny. In the glens, in the highlands, wherever mist rises over heather and river, the spirit of Wallace endures, a hero not of legend alone, but of Scotland itself.